What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Honda CB550 series. Our first video, we took this thing out of the shed. We gave it a good wash. It was really needed. It still needs a lot of polishing on the bike, but overall we got most of the dirt off. The second video, we did get the front brakes working, so those are working good now. And I just recently did a how-to video on how to change the oil on these things. So if you want to go check that out, that will be in the link in the description below. So we're going to be working on the carbs today. I'm actually going to try to see if I could just get the bowls out, because there is significant room in here, just so I can get the pilot jet out and the main jet just to clean them out, because I really think that's all it needs, because it does ride pretty decently. I do have a video on that as well, but obviously I had to turn the idle up just to keep it running because the pilot jets are clogged for sure. How bad they are, I really don't know, but let's just start. We're going to take out this screw over here, turn that out, we'll drain the fuel bowl, and then we'll start taking this off. This thing was pretty tight, so I loosened it before I started the video. It's still a little tight. So we will get this out and drain whatever fuel is in our carb bowl. Hopefully it's not a lot, but I got the rag over here. You can see it's starting to come out now. Okay. Decent amount as expected. All right, we'll let that drain for a second, and then I will plug that thing back up. Hands are full of gas, they freaking reek. So, okay, cool. Did that. We will put this thing back in here. There is a O-ring on here, a little black O-ring, and it seems like it's okay. So as long as I tighten this back up pretty good, that should be fine. Because I did notice a little bit of, I guess, gas on here, on this knob. And I don't know if it wasn't tightened enough. It probably was, but I'm sure maybe that little O-ring or seal is, you know, it's showing its age for sure. So we'll start tightening this back up. Okay, that should be good there. And now I'm going to start taking these off. 4 bolts that will hold on the carb bowl. I should be able to reach in there pretty decently. Seems like I got a pretty good amount of room, so let me start doing that. All right, we got one of these. We'll put all the screws in them, and the bolts, whatever you want to call it. So that one was actually pretty darn loose, so it's kind of a good thing that I started to take that out, because probably would have lost it. Pretty small screws, very small. This one. Let's get the other side. Okay, that was pretty easy for that one as well. So we'll get this one out. That is number 2. Then we got to get in here, so. So now I got to find the screws. This one is right over here. I can feel it. Okay, great. I got that one. Hoping this isn't going to be too much of a pain to get them back in when I'm taking off the bowl, but I think if I secure it with these 2 first, I should be able to get that other one out pretty easily, I would think. Let's try not to lose this screw. Okay, we got her. It's that one, and now we gotta get the back one. Let's see what is going on with that screw. right, so that is starting to come off. I'm actually gonna put one screw back in here just to really hold this in place. Probably should have just kept one loose, just so that the carb bowl doesn't really fall off while I'm taking out this last bolt. So I don't want to lose this last one, just because it's a little bit farther in. But I do got my rag down here, so we're hoping that if I do drop it, that will catch it and we don't lose the bolt. Let's see, I think I have a small Phillips that I can use. Does this fit in here? Nope, why would it? Let me see if I can just grab it by hand. Okay, that one's out, and I will get this one back out as well because that was easy in the front. So when I do the next carb, I'm trying to keep these on here when I do it just for convenience, because I know it's just the pilot jet and the main jet that may be clogged. Definitely the pilot jet for sure, but the main jet seems to be pretty decent. So we'll just pull this down like so. Okay, nothing out of the ordinary. It's a simple carb. So this bike does have this little kind of thing on the bottom. I'll actually show you that right now. All right, so as you can see on the bottom of the carb bowl, there is that little thing. I'm sure that's just for the floats. So I believe you just turn this thing to the left or right or something like that, and it should come out. Yeah, so basically it turns, and it should be like that when it's back installed. So you put it on this way, you just go up, and you turn that way, and it will stay in place. I'll put this down. And now, oh yeah, she was a bit dirty in there, huh? I'll make sure I clean this thing out, obviously each carb bowl, before we do that. And surprisingly, these gaskets seem to be in decent shape. We'll clean them up. So we'll just kind of take a look under the carb for what we can. Get this out of the way. But there we go. You can kind of see that we have a jet right here, I believe. And the pilot jet should be, let's see, right here. So I'm gonna first take out this one and see, that should be the pilot jet. And I'm gonna see how bad it looks. Hopefully, I could just use compressed air and brake cleaner or carburetor cleaner and get that out. So floats seem to be moving, which is good. They don't seem stuck or nothing. It seems like this little pin, I had to push, that little pin I just had to push back in a little bit, which is normal. So, all right, let me go get that pilot jet out. So I got something like this little thing right here. Flathead, I should be able to get that in there. Hopefully get the pilot jet out. I'm gonna first push this up and make sure that this actually fits in here. If not, I'll have to get a skinnier one. Okay, I can see the part where it goes up, so that's actually too thick. So we'll get our next one. Should be a little bit skinnier. Where the hell is that hole? Okay, that just almost fits in there. Let me go down one more. Okay, yeah, that one fits in there good. All right, so I'm just gonna get my 1/4-inch ratchet, turn that puppy out. Just using a little, this is 1/4-inch on here, and I have this little kit that actually accepts that, and it works perfect, and I do have some good amount of space, so let me get this in here first. Let's see, can I get that in there without it being too much of a pain? Okay, cool. We got that. Pilot jets really should be hand tight for the most part, so I'm glad someone didn't really wrench the hell out of this thing and get it stuck in there. So that is good. So now I should be able to just keep screwing this out. As you can see, yeah, pilot jet's moving now. Could be a spring in there. I don't want to lose it, so. All right, so pilot jet is out. I don't know what number this is. This looks like a 35, 36 or something. 38. 38 pilot, it seems like. But I'm pretty sure I could get this thing clean. So let me get some brake cleaner on here. Or some carb cleaner, sorry. And let's spray this out with as high as my compressor can go and see if I get a hole. I'm going to actually hold this up to the light real quick to see if I could see through it. And I cannot see a thing. So hopefully I have a really thin like needle or something I can put in there. So I'm going to go work on that now real quick. All right, so we do got some progress. I'm sure you won't be able to see through it, but I did put the pilot jet up to a light after using compressed air and carb cleaner, and we're able to see a hole, which is awesome. I was probably thinking that I would have had to literally buy brand new jets, but this is good. We got the hole, we can see through it, so that should be all set. I'm gonna check out this thing. This should be the main jet, I believe. I gotta put this down somewhere clean. This should be the main jet right here. So I'm gonna check out the main jet. And the main jet is actually relatively clean. So I'm gonna do the same thing, spray it out, and then we'll just put it back in there. Okay, nice. We do have our main jet nice and clean. I was able to, you could see through it perfectly when I looked up to the light, no problem. So that's good. I'm actually gonna keep this off for now, just so that I have a little bit more room to get into the other float bowl. Same thing, we'll drain it, get the pilot jet and the main jet out, and then we'll clean that and we'll swap over to the other side. All right, there's the second carb bowl. Maybe a little hard to see it because I'm not zooming in, but in here there is a lot of dirt. So obviously we'll clean both of these out because we don't want dirt getting back into the jets. We'll clean the jets, or I'm actually gonna take a little carb choke cleaner and just, you know, spray it up in the hole where both of these things went, just so we get that out of the way. And then we'll get to the other side. We got both of the pilot jets from the two carbs on the clutch lever side. I'm just having them soak in some brake cleaner. Like I said, I was able to see light through them, but not exactly sure how much light you really should be seeing. So I'm gonna let this sit in here probably like a half hour or something like that, just to try to help with it, and then I'll blow them out again. Got it relatively clean. Obviously we'll clean these out. As you can see, filthy, same with the other one. So I'm gonna let those sit. I'll spray them out, spray out the carbs basically, blow them out, and then I will get the bulls back on and we'll go to the other side. Something that I did notice is that, where was it? It's one of these, hold on, let me put this over here. So there is, which one was it? It was one of these connectors that for the boots, it wasn't really tight. So that was probably causing an air leak, not helping out at all. So I'll make sure I snug those up pretty good. Yeah, it's actually this one right here. This one, there's a decent amount of, yeah, it's actually pretty loose. I can move it with my hand. So I'll end up tightening that up, and that should help a lot, because obviously if that connection is not tight, you'll get an air leak. So I'm gonna clean these up and let's get this side finished. All right, so we're on the throttle side right now. We basically have this carb bowl off. There's just one screw holding it in. There is this tube that kind of goes back into there, and it actually connects to, if you could, it's hard to see, but let me see if I can get this angle going. It's like right, yeah, you can see that right in the back over there. There's that tube. That's what this thing connects to. So I obviously just pulled it off, moving it out of the way just so I can get into here. This side is definitely harder just because of the clutch cable being in here and where it is. But I'm gonna leave it in there, be able to get it, and that's why I definitely took out the screws from the other side, just because it was a lot easier to get to it. So when I get to these other two behind here, should be pretty easy. So I'll go finish this up and get this all set. All right, we got this carb bowl off, and wow, that's pretty disgusting, pretty bad. It's definitely a lot of varnish on there, so I could just imagine how the pilot jet's gonna be. I'm thinking maybe these two were one of the badder ones, because like I said, the other bowls on the other side really weren't too dirty. They were a little bit dirty, but not too bad. But this one's pretty bad. So, all right, I'm gonna clean this up and take off the other bowl and see how we found out over there. All right, so a little problem that we are having is we got all the screws out for the carburetor bolt, and this thing is not moving at all. So I try getting a rubber mallet and tapping a little bit. This thing should come off. If that carb bowl is that hard to get off right now, I could just imagine how the inside is going to be. So let me start working on that, and then we'll show you guys how it looks. All right, so we got the hammer out, and wow, this is horrible. Holy crap. I can't even see the metal part in the bowl. This one actually, when I poured it out, it dried out. It didn't look as bad. I'll still get, carb cleaner and clean that out. It's still decently bad, but wow, that is that's crazy. Even on this first carb, this part right here had a whole bunch of dirt on it, and the main jet was 100% clogged. They couldn't even see through it, and that's pretty bad for a main jet. So all right, a lot of work to do. This is what happens when you let bikes sit for a long time with the gas in there for carb bikes. This is what happens. So, if you find a barn find bike and, if they didn't drain all the gas out or something, expect to see something like this. It's definitely going to be a good amount of work. And God knows, oh my God, wow. It won't really focus back there, but I can see it. It's pretty bad. Even that main jet, oh, just the inside of the carb looks, that's crazy. Like this part here is all silver, right? And that thing's like brown. So, all right, a lot of cleaning to do. Let's start hammering this out. The two carb bowls on that side on. I want to start spraying some carb cleaner on this one all the way in the back. As you can see, it's really, really bad. But I didn't want any of that crap to get, on the float bowls of the other carbs or anything like that. So we got the main jets back installed, the pilot jet, the spring and whatnot, and now we'll start spraying down this thing. All right, so I got some string to hold this float up on this bowl, and then I used a little wrench to hold up the bowl on that carb over there. I did get the main jet out. I literally had to put a vice grip on it and keep wiggling it back and forth, and it took me like probably 5 minutes. That thing was in there. It was pretty bad. But I did get the pilot jet loose. As you can see, it's disgusting. But I'm going to start taking that off, and then I'll show you it. All right, so there it is. Pretty bad. Oh my God. That thing is horrible. I'm going to try using some carb cleaner on it and see if we can get some light through here. Try using a small needle and poke it through. See what we can do. But yeah, the bottom of that carb is pretty bad. So I'm going to do what we can to try to get that crap off. It's just, ugh, I just hope it's not like that inside. I just hope the jet clogged up. Because if that's the case, the carb's really got to come off, and it really should just go in an ultrasonic cleaner. But anyway, we're going to try. Like I said, you can see it's pretty bad. So I'm going to try to get all that crap off. Use carb cleaner, wipe it down. I have to use like some goof off or something, because that stuff's pretty bad. So let's see what we can do with the pilot jet first, and then we'll start tackling that. All right, a little bit of an update. This is probably like a day or two later. I've been working on this thing and working, and then, other life stuff we have to do, so I can only work so much on this thing. But Did get both of those carb bowls way cleaner than they were before. They're 100 times better. We did get the pilot jet that was in there. I actually put it back up in here. It is, move this float, it is back in there. I had to put the main jet, and that pilot jet was 100% clogged, but we did get it cleaned and we can see light through it, so we're good there. I actually ended up having a small tiny like needle thing that I was able to press basically through it for the most part on each side, and we got that. The main jet over here, that thing was so bad. This thing was not running. This bike was not running on all cylinders. There is no doubt, even with throttle, because this main jet that I had to use the vice grip to get out, this thing was so clogged that I had to put like a small nail through it, and it was even hard to do that. But we got that clean now. Here's the other carb pilot and main jet. So we're gonna start throwing this thing back together, and let's hope that she starts up pretty easy now, considering it's gotta, because if it started decently before with the idle turned up, I think we'll be a lot better shape now. I think it's gonna fire right up, hopefully. Fingers crossed, but there's no doubt it's gonna be way better. So those two carbs are done. I'm gonna start installing this one and the other one, and then I'll get back to you. All right, that's 3 bowls on, 1 more to go. I got the pilot jet in here, but one thing I wanted to talk about is these main jets. You can see that they have that little rubber part on the end over there, and obviously the part where my nail is, that's where that spring fits onto. Now, one of them, every time I put it up in the carb, it just immediately fell right down. So what I did was I put a tiny bit of Teflon tape in that groove because I was actually trying to clean it, and I ended up actually breaking that little rubber gasket O-ring type thing that was in there. I tried getting another O-ring that was small that I thought would work, but it just wouldn't fit in the carb bowl, so I just used a little bit of Teflon tape, and it was able to hold it in there, and I got the bracket on, or the spring, and then I was able to get that into place. Now, of course, if your carbs were off the bike and they were upside down, you don't really got to worry about that. But I mean, you do want to kind of have it stay in place so that the bowls are there, and then it would just hold everything. But if you get into that problem and you're able to clear your jets fine, and it's not staying up there and you're using it this way instead of actually taking it off the bike, put a tiny bit of Teflon tape over there. Now, I can't guarantee that the Teflon tape is going to dissolve and go out, but when the spring is in there and attached to this and the bowl is up there, it should hold it, so you should be good. I've used Teflon tape on tons of petcocks for other machines with no problem at all, so I'm assuming it's going to work. All right, let's throw this last main jet in there, get the bowl on, and then we're going to try to fire it up. All right, we got all the bowls back on. I had the gas on for a little bit. Here we go. Let's pray this works. Oh, sweet. Probably going to have to turn the idle down. Let me get this thing running for a bit. All right, cool. So that's all buttoned up. I'll show you some of the stuff that I used. Obviously, some lights to see in here. When I was looking under the carbs, I did use a little bit of Teflon tape on one of the jets on that side, and actually the one right here, because the rubber gasket was just a little bit too worn and it wouldn't keep it in place. Obviously, a piece of scissor to cut off any excess Teflon tape. We had to use a vice grip to get the jet out of that carb that was so bad. I just used this little wrench to hold up one of the float bowls. Didn't really need it. 1/4 inch socket and a little wrench. And we use something like this to get the carb bowls out. And we use something like this, a little flathead for the pilot jet. Main jet was just able to pull out for the most part. We used a lot of carb cleaner, basically a whole can. And I actually had to use some of this goof off stuff to get off some of that stuff that was on the jets and part of the floats, just because they were so bad. You know, the carb cleaner was working a little bit, but this stuff definitely helped. And even this, it took a lot, and it was just a struggle to get some of that out. So a lot of Q-tips, obviously getting it in there, cleaning it. I used I don't know where the heck it is, but oh, here it is. I did use this to get in where the main jet goes through, to push through, and same with the pilot, just to try to clear out those passageways as good as possible. Did use a wire brush to help with getting some of that crap that was on the spring that goes in the carb bowl by the main jet. We used that to clean that up pretty good, and we did have to use some goof off on that really bad one because I could not get that stuff off. It was really bad. So, all right, pretty happy that we got that done. I believe next we're going to do some spark plugs on here. I'm hoping I could just literally take these out, get a spark plug wrench tool in there, and same thing with this one on the other side, and do them all. So, all right, guys, so thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.